Hey folks, I want to talk about this mythology that surrounds male fluid retention. I'm not talking about water, but it's the first minute of the YouTube video, so I'm going to speak a little bit more carefully. There's a mythology surrounding it. There's all this excitement about, oh, you need to keep retaining. So let's talk about it. For people who are in the habit of achieving a pleasurable release multiple times a day, whether it be with or without a partner, the pituitary gland releases prolactin, and that causes you to feel, tired. It causes you to feel unmotivated. It's the hormone that makes it less likely that you can continue that act. Now, there's rare occasions where the average person might be able to just restart almost right away. But generally speaking, you gotta take a break. You call it the male refractory period. Now, the acute effects of it, you have to take a little break, and then you can go again. But generally speaking, you're feeling kind of tired, kind of unmotivated. Now, I found that, if I get up after the activity and then go get some vigorous exercise, then it's easier to shake off the more acute effects of it. But the chronic effects linger for some time. Now, if you're in the habit of doing this, multiple times a day, every day, then you're going to feel generally unmotivated. Now, you can push through the unmotivated feeling, but understandably, people respond to incentives. The average meathead responds to incentives. So if he does this, then he's not going to want to do anything. It may become unproductive. His life gets consumed with, tossing one off and then taking a break and lounging around and then tossing one off again and so on. Responding only to the most maybe basic urges like food and using the bathroom and so on. But there's nothing magical about retaining the fluid. It's just fluid. Your body makes it. And you know what? If you retain it, your body recycles it. It breaks down the old stuff, creates new stuff. But what happens, though, if you don't have release, that, yes, your testosterone level goes up a little bit. It's really not as much as you think. And then it tends to plateau. For me, it's about day 7, day 8, and then it goes down a little bit, and then it levels off about how I'm feeling around day 7, right? Now, general randiness, feeling like you want to get with somebody, that fluctuates from day to day, right? And you have different stresses of the day, and nutrition, and how much sleep you got, and whatever, all the things going on. The body is a complex thing. But I find that, if I go, the longer I go, up to about day 7 or day 8, the more I have these random thoughts of sex. And they get a little bit more intrusive over time. No, they're not especially intrusive for me, all right? But they're there, and it can be distracting. I'm a creative person. A lot of creative people, while they're working on their passion projects or whatever, will abstain from the sexual act, whether with a partner or alone, so they can focus on that because they don't want to have that unmotivated feeling that comes with prolactin release. That being said, you can be so wound up and agitated. You might have heard people, be kind of cranky and short-tempered, and someone might say, "Oh, somebody needs an orgasm." Right, so that person, once they go have release, they feel better, and then they can go back to focusing on what they're doing. Now, having the occasional release so you can stay level-headed is a world of difference between compulsively doing it all the time. You don't get magical powers from retaining it, okay? This is just a biological phenomenon. Now, anything you might do obsessively, for some people it might be eating, right? If you eat too much all the time, you get fat. and you get used to whatever, the dopamine spike from eating all the time, right? So when you stop doing it all the time, your quality of life changes if you fill that time with something else. And the same thing goes with, playing with yourself or playing with a partner even. It goes with drinking. If you're drinking all the time, right? If you spend all day, if you drink half a handle of vodka every day, and then you stop, right? You get off of it, then your quality of life is probably going to change, and you fill the time you spent, drinking, doing something else, then you're obviously going to have probably some kind of sort of improvement in your life. I think I need to keep piling on the examples. Okay, you filled your life with this obsession that also had a chemical component to it. You change your life, you're probably going to see your life is probably better. But there's nothing special or magical or mystical about semen retention. It's a biological phenomenon. Now you decide for yourself, how often release is good for you. But I tell you right now, you're not some loser. It's like, hey, you held it for 2.5 weeks and then you cranked one out. Congratulations, you just engaged in a very reasonable amount of release. There's nothing unreasonable about that. My discipline broke down. Dude, you blew one after, 19 days. Get over it. It's fine. Now, I know a guy, he gets cranky, he doesn't get one off every day. Thankfully, his wife is willing to oblige. Lucky guy. He's both attractive and charismatic, so his wife, volunteers to participate. Which, I guess, incel adjacent, which is this channel, not many people who've even dated have experienced that. So, in any case, sorry, I saw a cat. I was watching a cat. Look, I appreciate that mythology has within it tangential benefits, coded behaviors. For example, Catholics, when I was growing up, would in theory abstain. They would fast from eating for at least 12 hours before receiving Holy Communion. Now, there are benefits to fasting. There's biological benefits, right? Now, 12 hours, not a lot, but your body can start burning the fat. Maybe a little autophagy, I can't pronounce it, autophagy, cleaning up the cellular debris. And of course, there were different fast days in Catholicism, during Lent especially. There's nothing magical or mystical about it. A prolonged fast will induce autophagy, and dead cells and whatever, yucky cells and cancer cells and so on start to get cleaned up. The body burns off excess fat. It's good for you. Now, I'm not giving medical advice. I'm just speaking in general, right? If you have a metabolic disease or diabetes or something, you talk to your doctor. I'm illustrating that within the mythology of a faith, there can be benefits. So if you make a mythology around not having an ejaculation, and you're pursuing that, then you can enjoy the benefits of increased energy and, oh, look, I feel more motivated, right? But you're certainly not going to become more attractive. If you go to work and you haven't had release in several days, and then a perfectly neutral interaction might feel like someone's flirting with you, or you might go, oh, I'm enjoying this person. Yeah, because you're not drugging yourself down. You realize that each time you drug yourself down, your sex drive gets suppressed. So now your prolactin levels have been minimized, and you have these neutral interactions, and they're more pleasant. Yeah, this whatever, even this average-looking lady who's just engaging in business talk with you, you're enjoying it because guess what? You're horny again. You might say, oh, women notice they like me. Well, you know what? These women might have liked you to begin with, but you're just so drugged out on your prolactin, then you're not even noticing it. Okay, there's nothing mystical going on here. It's biological self-regulation. You decide what you need to do for you. But I tell you right now, there's nothing to feel ashamed of if you you retain for a week, 2 week, 3 week, whatever. Every 3 days you let one go. Well, whatever it is for you. Okay, you do what's right for you. Now, if it troubles your conscience to never have release, then don't. Okay, don't do it. I don't want someone to live with a troubled conscience. But I tell you right now, if your conscience is troubled by this bullshit mythology around semen retention, now your conscience is informed. You can make an educated decision. Understand, there's a biological thing going on here. I would say, generally speaking, in my opinion, it's my personal opinion, you decide for you, that, yeah, there's a time and place for self-indulgence, but generally it's not the time or the place. But if you want to have, a marathon, 3 in a row or whatever, just take the evening just to toss them off once in a while, that's your own business. You're not a bad person for doing it. It'd be no different than you having, 3 in a row with a partner. Or 3 in a row by yourself. That's on you. But there are consequences. There are material consequences to this, and that is a higher prolactin level, which makes you feel less motivated, more tired. So you decide for yourself what you want to do. Thanks for watching.